Hi everybody, Brian from Bear Bull Traders here. It is almost the weekend, April 19th. And for those of you that have been following me, you'll know I've been on vacation this week down in Mexico and been enjoying the sun, playing some golf, just kicking back, doing a little bit of beach time. So yeah, it's been a great holiday. I have been watching the markets a bit. I got out of some positions, did a few trades on and off when I was near the computer, but other than that, it's been kind of tried to tune out a little bit. Regardless, let's take a look at what happened last week in the markets, and then we'll take a look ahead, see what we got coming up next week. More earnings coming up, and I'm sure there'll be lots of opportunities. So let's get down to it. Right, so back in the office, and I didn't have a chance to do much more when I was down in Mexico, so just getting around to doing this weekly review, and it was a rough week for the markets, and I guess maybe a good week for me to take the time off, but with lots of volatility, lots of trading opportunities, I am sure. So we had lots of strong economic data, hawkish comments by the Fed. One of them, Williams, I believe, who came out and said potential for rate hikes is not off the table. So, of course, the potential for rate cuts is certainly becoming less and less obvious as time goes on here through the 2024. Of course, the things in the Middle East, they were a concern as well. Potential for escalation and fighting that was going on this week. That also probably weighed a little on the markets as well. So, and as far as the semiconductors go, there were some disappointing reports from ASML and TSM, certainly dragged the tech sector, semi-sector down with it. And you can see that reflected in the Qs as some of the high-flying AI stocks, especially NVIDIA, really got hammered on Friday. So Q's down 5.4%. The Dow did manage to eke out a small gain on the week. So there you go. Areas of strength and weakness, of course, not surprising, utilities, consumer defensive, both of those are defensive sectors. So they managed to end up on the week. There were the technology and consumer discretionary. Those are the ones that are risk-on trades. Those were the biggest losing sectors on the week. And of course, we had Treasuries inching their way up again. The 2-year almost at 5% now, 10-year up another 0.1%. So Treasury yields continue to inch their way up here. U.S. dollar, of course, it moves with interest rates generally speaking, and it went up as well, just fractionally. And Bitcoin, sort of not much of a move overall after you said and done. And you can see they're down a little bit, but that could change, as you all know, could change by Monday morning. So that was kind of the week in review, and it was a doozy. Okay, so before we go on here, I always like to do a quick plug for my books that are available on Amazon. You can see them there, Profiting as an Active Trader, How to Swing Trade, my oldest book, and my latest book, How to Trade Options. And you'll notice I do talk a lot about options trades in the room here or on the video as well. So if you want to check those books out, they are available for sale. So let's get down and look at some charts here. All right, as always, let's start out by taking a look at the treasuries. And you can see here we continue to inch up higher, the 2-year back at this 5% level, which was where we kind of topped out here before later last year, sort of fall of last year, and then pulled back. Now we're retesting these levels. So momentum continuing to the upside. And I guess if we continue to get some strong economic data, strong PCE report, more CPI data that's strong, we may continue higher here. So, and that's not going to be good for the market. 10-year, again, kind of breaking out of this 4.3, 4.4 level. Could be heading back up again here to this area we tested back in fall of 2023. Let's hope not. But again, the economic data is still not showing any signs of weakening. As far as transports go, really lost it here. This was an area where it needed to hold, and this would have been another area where it needed to hold. So we really fell out of bed here on the transports last week. Not sure that I think it just everything got sold off, even though economic data was strong. Showing the economy is good, transportation should be good, transport stocks should be good, but pretty much everybody just started hitting the sell button there. So the Dow actually didn't manage too badly this week. We managed sort of, you can see here, did a lot of chop consolidating over the week, and on the week overall, you can see we had a couple of down weeks earlier, but this week was, we actually ended up just fractionally 0.01% on the week. So Dow kind of hanging in there at this point, and we'll see if we can manage a bit of a rally next week on the Dow. It's going to depend somewhat on the earnings and some of the guidance we get. The Qs took a beating here, a lot of it due to the semi sell-off caused by ASML and Taiwan Semi, some of their reports. And you can see here the Qs. We're testing a support level here. This is a trend line if you want to draw it up. Haven't drawn it on this chart, but you can see here we are actually testing this. We are coming into an area where I might expect to see some support. There was a lot of churning in this area, and possibly so be watching this area pretty closely. We may come down early in the week and test that level, and then if we can bounce and close higher, then that might be an indication we are going to get a bit of a bounce here. But again, this area right here where we consolidated after this breakout, pretty significant area to see if we hold that next week. May come down, test it, and then hold it. So you can see here on a daily, we kind of rolled over on the SPY. Again, on a weekly, you can see I've drawn in some trend lines here on this chart, but you can see here, there's where we could be heading. I mean, if we draw this line up over, that would be the trend line established by these lows. And again, this is an area where we saw some consolidation, as I spoke about earlier, just with the Qs. And again, this would be an area where I'd be watching for some pretty important support if we actually did get down there. So IWM really struggling, and it's going to continue to struggle as long as we don't see any relief on interest rates. And we're back down into an area where we saw some support back here and this 200-day moving average. So not a bad day Friday. We did kind of pick back up a little bit, but again, we've really broken an uptrend here, and we may be retesting some 190 level here before we possibly bounce. And the IWM, again, we're back down into an area where there was support back here, and we'll see if it holds around that 190 level. The VIX popping up, sold off on Friday. That's kind of typical. Often you do get a drop in the VIX on Friday. And you can see here the dollar gapping up and moving strongly as the yields go up. And again, you can see here yields, again, dollar fractionally higher on the week. Bitcoin, again, we're back up over 65,000 again, but it's kind of range bound. And this whole halving event thing that was supposed to happen this weekend, I guess it really didn't have the big run up that people thought, but we'll see. Anything can happen with Bitcoin. We could wake up tomorrow and find this thing at 70,000. So it's just really hard to predict where that's going next. But this 60,000 is an area they seem to want to defend here on the weekly. And that's it for what happened last week. Okay, so let's go over some of my current positions. I actually did get out a lot of them last week, early in the week, just because I was going to be away from my trading station, wasn't able to watch things. So, and I also thought the market was looking a little bit sketchy, which it turned out to be a good thing. I followed my gut there. So got out of Apple. Apple looked like it was getting ready to break out here. I'm going to watch for a bottom here, probably around 160. What I think might happen next week, and I think it applies for a lot of the stocks I'm just going to go over here. I think we might get a bit more selling on Monday. We might maybe gap lower, drop down, and then maybe come back up. So I'll be looking at these lows of Friday, or not lows, but the closing prices on Friday on a lot of these. If we can close above the closing price happened on Friday, might be a sign that we may be looking at a bit of a reversal. Amazon, again, out of that one, it's really rolled over here Friday. Boeing, I still have these 260 calls. Really should get rid of them because they're just taking margin in my position, and they're almost worthless basically, so I could cover them. and keep all the premium. I did short the 190s. They calls a couple weeks ago. They did expire worthless on Friday as well, so kept the premium there. Gold's had a bit of a rocky road here since we kind of did this topping candle. Pulled back, came back up, still with these issues in the Middle East, geopolitical risk. Gold is still attractive. Google's hanging in there pretty well, actually, considering the way the rest of the market traded, and still holding a bit of Google. Meta was in that. I'm still in that a little bit. It's still got to hold this 480 level. Close or I'll get out of that. MIDU I am out of for now, but watching. NVIDIA I am also out of. Man, it just got tanked on Friday, really got hammered. It's led down to about 10%, and that's about it for, I don't have a lot of positions right now, sort of sitting on the sidelines waiting. So potentials for next week, kind of a light list here. We are in the middle of earnings season. We've got some big earnings coming up this week, also PCE, end of the week. But American Express kind of looks interesting. Had a really good day on Friday after its earnings report. So I'll be watching to see how this sort of plays out if we get some topping action. But certainly this move from sort of 218 was really interesting, and probably is going to be stay up here for a while anyway. I can't see it pulling back. Obviously reported some good numbers on their earnings call. Boeing, I'm still watching this one. Potential. I still think there might be opportunity to sell more upside calls. But it does look like it's kind of getting into a bottoming pattern here. So maybe it might be an opportunity to sell some puts. We'll watch it next week and see how that goes. And they actually are reporting next week, so sort of laying off this one. I'm just probably keep the 260s. I might close them out just because they're worth so little, and they're just taking up buying power. Ethereum, I am still kind of watching that. I still think there's some ETFs coming, but it's really been struggling here, and now it's holding 15. And yeah, like I said, I'm just watching it. I don't know. If it gets down to 13, I'll really seriously consider buying into it. But we'll just keep an eye on it for now. Netflix, interesting. They reported Friday as well. Really sold off hard, and could be some support down here at around 540. There is nothing between here and here. So if we pierce this level, there's going to be very little support down to 500. But so we'll watch how this behaves over the next day or two. If we can find some support around 540, might be worth shorting or selling some puts. Certainly this 610 area is definitely resistance. We spent a lot of time here, and it's going to have trouble getting through back through 610, 615. So it could be a good call short there as well, as long as there's still some good premium in the options. But again, just kind of watch this one for some bottoming action next week. And that's it for potentials right now. Like I said, earnings coming up, a lot of earnings coming up. We'll just keep an eye on what guidance is going to be on some of these tech stocks. Okay, so let's put a wrapper on this here for the week of April 22nd. Here's where we left off on Friday. Pretty much a down day overall, and we'll see if we get some more continuation of the downside next week. Maybe might find some support here, so we'll see what happens. I'll have to watch the price action. As far as economics event goes, there's a bunch of stuff during the week, but of course the big one will be the PCE price index data. That of course is the inflation gauge that the Feds often favor. So everybody will be watching to see what that comes out at on Friday morning before the market open. And as far as earnings go, we have a rack of earnings this week. Lots of interesting stuff coming up. I've even highlighted some of these in red. These are the big ones I'll be watching. Tesla, of course, has really been getting rocked for weeks now, on some bad news, orders, etc. And of course, we've got some of the biggies, Microsoft, Intel, Roku, Google, or Alphabet as they call themselves, and Snap. So we'll be watching Thursday afternoon will be a big bout of tech earnings. So that'll be it, everybody. Anyway, hope everyone's had a great weekend. Looking forward to getting back into trading on Monday morning. We kick off as usual at 8 o'clock pre-market show, and trading the market open with our members at 9:30 if you're joining us there. So enjoy the rest of your weekend. What's left of it, everybody. We'll see you hopefully on Monday. Bye for now.